Welcome to this channel. Mau belajar bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris dengan cara yang seru, santai, dan mudah dipahami? You're in the right place. Belajar kosakata dan ekspresi sehari-hari. Learn daily vocabulary and expressions. Dengarkan contoh situasi nyata. Listen to real-life examples. Subscribe sekarang dan nyalakan notifikasi. Let's learn together and have fun.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So today, we're doing something maybe a little unexpected.
Yeah, definitely not the usual dense history or science paper this time.
No, we're actually looking at, believe it or not, a basic Indonesian language lesson.
It's from the Absolute Beginner series, lesson 21. It's called How Many Indonesian Friends Do You Have?
And our mission, really, is to see what we can pull out of a seemingly simple dialogue. We're talking about a chat between two guys, Budi and Edie, meeting in Yogya.
Yogya, yeah, that's short for Yogyakarta.
Right. And we want to see what insights it gives us into, basic conversations, some vocabulary, grammar.
And there's even a little cultural note about Papua tucked in there. It's quite interesting how much you can find.
Amazing what a simple lesson can reveal, right?
Yeah.
So let's jump into the dialogue itself. How does it start?
Okay, so Budi opens with Hai mas pertama kali di Yogya.
Which translates to?
Hey man, is this your first time in Yogya?
Okay, mas, you mentioned that's informal.
Yeah. Mas is a common and friendly way to address a man, especially maybe a slightly younger one or an equal. A bit like saying mate or pal.
So it immediately sets a kind of casual, friendly tone.
Exactly. To just, an openness and ease right from the get-go, even between strangers.
Interesting. And how does Edie respond?
Edie says, Ya benar, tapi punya banyak teman di Indonesia.
Okay, break that down for us.
Ya is yes. Benar means true or right. So yeah, that's right.
Tapi, that means but.
Correct. But I have banyak. Banyak means many or plenty of daman friends in Indonesia.
So, yeah, that's right. But I have plenty of friends in Indonesia, even though it's his first time in Yogya specifically.
Precisely. It introduces these keywords, benar and tapi, and sets up this idea that while he's new here, he's not entirely disconnected from the country.
But the Buddhi's curious, right? He asks.
Just a simple, oh yeah, dari mana?
Meaning, oh yeah, from where?
And Edie's reply is quite expansive. He says, Jadi, saya ada teman di Jakarta, di Bali, di Papua, di mana aja.
Whoa, okay. Let's unpack that. Jadi. What's that doing there?
Jadi is often used like so, or well, or actually. It's kind of a conversational connector leading into his explanation.
Okay, then saya ada teman.
Saya is I. Ada here means to have. So I have friends.
In Jakarta, in Bali, in Papua. That's quite a geographical spread.
It really is. Jakarta on Java, Bali, and then all the way east to Papua. And he finishes with Dimana aja.
Which means?
Wherever or anywhere. Like basically everywhere.
Okay. So he's really emphasizing his connections across Indonesia.
Absolutely. And notice that verb ada again. Saya ada teman. I have friends. It's showing possession here. We'll dig into ada a bit more later.
Yeah, definitely need to circle back to that. But Budi's reaction is pretty positive, isn't it?
Very. He says, Hebat mas. Dan sekarang ada teman di Yogya.
Hebat means great.
Great, awesome, cool, great man. And sekarang, now you have friends in Yogya.
That's nice. It's like, welcome to the club. Now you know someone here too.
Exactly. It reinforces that connection being made right there.
And Edie just agrees.
Yep. With a simple haha, bena, bena. Just repeating right. Or true for emphasis. Very natural.
Feels very welcoming, very easy.
It does. It sort of speaks to how social connections might form quite readily.
Okay, so let's maybe highlight some of that key vocab we've pulled out so far.
Sure. We had benar, true, right? The example sentence given was kabar itu benar. That news is true.
And tapi but.
Yeah. Then teman, friend, and banyak menit.
What about di mana aja? That seemed important.
Definitely. Wherever or anywhere. The lesson notes give the example, bisa makan di mana aja.
You could eat anywhere.
Right. It suggests a kind of flexibility, maybe.
And sekarang means now.
Yes. Dan sekarang ada teman di yoga. And now you have friends in yoga.
And the first one we encountered. Pertama kali.
Yes, the first time. Like in Biddy's question, pertama kali di yoga.
The sample sentences were useful too.
Yeah. Ini pertama kali ke yoga.
This is my first time to yoga.
And the slightly longer one.
Kesanku saat pertama kali melihatmu sangat berlainan dengan sekarang. Which is roughly, my impression the first time I saw you was totally different from now.
Shows its versatility.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned ordinal numbers. Pertama is first. How does that work for second, third, etc.?
Good question. So pertama is kind of special. It stands alone for first.
Okay.
For all the others, second, third, fourth, up to 10th and beyond, you generally take the cardinal number like do A2, tiga, 3, empat 4, and add the prefix ke.
So kedua is second.
Exactly. Kedua is second, ketiga is third, keempat is fourth, all the way up. The lesson lists up to kesepuluh 10th.
So sepuluh is 10, kesepuluh is 10th. That ke prefix is the key.
It's a very consistent pattern, really useful for learners to spot.
Definitely. Okay, let's tackle the grammar point you flagged, the verb ada. You said it's a powerhouse.
It really is. It's super common. The lesson highlights its two main jobs.
Which are?
First, it indicates presence or existence, like there is or there are. The example is ada teman di sini.
There's a friend here.
Right, or there are friends here. Indonesian doesn't always mark plurals on nouns explicitly.
Okay, presence. What's the second function?
Possession, meaning to have. Like in the example, saya ada teman di sini.
Which means, I have a friend here.
Exactly. It can mean both. There is a friend here, and I have a friend here, depending on context. But when you put saya, I, or another subject pronoun in front, it strongly implies possession.
Like in Edie's sentence, saya ada teman di Jakarta. He means, I have friends.
Precisely. That's the perfect example. Jadi, saya ada teman di Jakarta, di Bali, di Papua, di mana saja. He's listing the places where he possesses friendships.
Understanding that dual role of ada seems pretty crucial then.
Absolutely fundamental for basic Indonesian. You hear and use it constantly.
Okay, good. Now, the last bit that popped out was the mention of Papua.
Yeah, in E's list of friends. Jakarta, Bali, Papua.
The lesson notes give a bit of cultural context here. It mentions Papua as the easternmost province, sharing the island with Papua New Guinea.
And it notes the former name Irian Jaya.
It also briefly mentions some historical context, things like self-determination movements and issues around transmigration programs.
Yes, programs that moved people from more densely populated islands like Java and Bali. It's a complex history, and just mentioning Papua can bring some of that to mind, even subtly.
So why is it significant, do you think, that Edie includes Papua in his list alongside the more maybe commonly mentioned Jakarta and Bali?
Well, on one level, it could just be where his friends happen to be.
True.
But you could also see it as a subtle reinforcement of Indonesia's national motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity. Including Papua highlights the vast geographical and cultural reach of the country, and perhaps the idea that connections and friendships span across all these diverse regions.
It sort of paints a picture of a connected nation, despite the distances and differences.
Potentially, yes. It certainly opens a little window onto the sheer scale and complexity of Indonesia, just through listing where someone has friends.
So recapping this deep dive into, well, a beginner's lesson. We've seen how a simple conversation works, picked up key vocabulary like benar, tapi, gimana aja, pertama kali, sekarang.
We looked at ordinal numbers with pertama and the key prefix.
And we unpacked the super important verb, ada, understanding its role in showing both presence and possession.
And of course, that little cultural touch point with Papua, reminding us of Indonesia's geography and complex history.
It really is quite remarkable how much you can extract from such a basic exchange.
It underscores that language learning isn't just about memorizing words and grammar rules, is it? It's about understanding communication, connection, culture.
Yeah, how people actually interact. This brief chat between Booty and Edie really does give you a feel for that potential warmth and connection.
And the value placed on friendship, perhaps, spanning across the archipelago.
It definitely leaves you thinking. Beyond just the language, what does the geography of someone's friendships tell you about them, or even about the country they live in? Where do connections form, and why? Something to ponder, perhaps.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.